Ramzan Pakistan, Ramzan Pakistan.
Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Allahumma ajirni minan nar. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Ji ayanu pakhair ragale ni hao chunashumme washmale ohaya gunzaimas guten morgen hola bonjour privet kaifa hal hale shuma chatore ahlan wa sahlan marhaba buna mucho gracias suave balli kare hosh gal dene. Thank you very much everybody for tuning into PTV World. You're definitely watching Ramzan Pakistan alongside my very learned and very philosophical colleague Ms. Hajo Sati, and I happen to be Shahzad Hassan Khan, and we hope and pray that everybody out there is doing wonderfully well and that you're ready to listen to whatever we have to share with all of you. And we truly believe in making sure that we kind of whatever information we disseminate is research backed and that it's going to have a very positive impact on your life as well. First things first. Hello Haja, Assalamu alaikum. How are you doing today?
Walaikum assalam. Thank you so much for asking. So Shahzad, I was doing my last minute or last time errands for the Eid, and I took my mother and my sister to a tailor and a bazaar and was doing stuff. So I came across this point that of course this is Ramazan, so our shops open late and then they close late because of Ramazan. If it weren't for the Ramazan, it's the same routine, right? And if you go abroad, especially to the Western world, you will find that the shops, they open up early and then they close early also, right? Because they have to pay their workers for the extra time. And I do feel that that was a big cultural shock for me, because I was like, oh, Pakistan has such a vibrant night culture, and what is this? Everything is closed by max by 8 or by 7:30. So I do feel that is why these nations are very punctual and they have this habit of good time management, and that's why they're progressing.
And in addition to that, what they actually make sure that they're not wasting anybody else's time as well.
That's true.
You go to any public office or a private office, the gentleman across the counter or the lady across the counter will always be like, okay sir, please take a seat, I'll get back to you 5 minutes later. You're still waiting and they won't come back to you, and you would actually have to go to the counter again. And just a very amazing incident which actually occurred to me. So I was in UK, and so I had to call my doctor, my physician over there. So it was 7 in the evening, and I called the doctor, and it was still bright outside, it wasn't really very dark. So I called the doctor and I was like, hey doctor, I'm supposed to come and see you tomorrow. So the doctor all of a sudden flipped, and the doctor was like, Mr. Khan, you can call me at 5 in the morning, but this is no time to call me. And I was like shocked. And that was a cultural shock for me too as well. But if we start to get punctual, ladies and gentlemen, the life will actually become more easier as well. That's something which I've witnessed all throughout my life as well, from school, college, and to my workplace as well. But very quickly, today, I think it's a very important day, and everybody needs to kind of listen about it and then share or spread awareness if you are in that position as well. Today, we are actually observing World
Safety Day.
Yes, World Health and Safety Day, ladies and gentlemen, and that too because a lot of occupational hazards can take place at the workplace as well. So to avoid them, the World Day for Safety and Health at Work is being celebrated today across the world to promote the prevention of occupational accidents and diseases globally.
And the World Day for Safety and Health at Work is an awareness-raising campaign that intends to focus international attention on the magnitude of the problem and on how promoting and creating a safe and healthy work culture can help reduce the number of work-related deaths and injuries.
Wow, and you know what, the 28th April is also the International Commemoration Day for Deceased and Injured Workers. And they should actually be looked after by organization. For people who have spent years and years working for an organization to fulfill its dream, why can't we help them, God forbid, if they're ill or deceased as well, and support their families? And we really need to introduce such mechanisms where we do have job security, and God forbid, if you have spent years and years making sure that you're going to give your 100% to the organization, they should really look after you,
Right. And especially for the people, who are working in the coal mines or who are working in the mines, it's very important that, we should look after them, because
and you know what International Labour Organization says? Countries need to put in place sound and resilient occupational safety and health systems that would minimize the risks for everyone as well, Hajra.
Right, and that's very important, and especially, how we are hearing about the news that, the coal miners, they have died because of the emissions of the very poisonous gas and the toxic gases, and that they have exhumed, especially down in the crust of the earth or something like that.
Exactly, and in addition to that, I think I would really love to appreciate how PTV has actually looked after each and every one of us, because imagine it was COVID. You know, so there was standard SOPs in place and strict SOPs as well, and then they brought in vaccines for all of the employees. Then they made sure that everybody's going to get a booster shot as well. And then in addition to that, we have a daycare over here. A lot of the employees who are permanent, alhamdulillah, they're covered with medical facilities. I don't know why, you know, I think it's the most important for the anchor persons to be covered with such facilities. Rather, we do not get these facilities, but people behind the camera get these facilities as well. We really need to be vocal about it. But PTV, you've done a great job, you know, all of those scanners and cameras and, you know, those dispensing machines for, what were we using, you know?
The sanitizers.
Yeah, the sanitizers. And, you know, I think that the best part was that people should have actually been more responsible because people kept on taking out the sanitizer from those bottles as well. Don't do that. Don't be cheap, all right?
Right. That's true. That's true. And moving forward, Shehzad, so we had this conversation yesterday about the jurisprudence and about the Islamic fiqh and about how, you know, that's always constantly evolving despite, you know, the criticism that is leveled by the Western world, Western media. So carrying forward that conversation and also, you know, talking more about the knowledge in about Islamic jurisprudence. Yes, Shehzad, you have to.
Exactly. And in addition to that, you know, so Haja, we've actually tried throughout the Ramazan that we, you know, take out the teachings from the Holy Book of Quran and from the life of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which is actually helpful for us to be better Muslims, to be better mu'min, and to be better humans as well. So ladies and gentlemen, when all of this knowledge is being imparted to you by our very scholarly guest over here in the studios with us, you know, I think there comes a point where you really need to understand how do you apply that knowledge for the betterment of yourself and for the betterment of the society. So it's going to be a mix of contemporary knowledge and then religious knowledge, and you really need to find a mix where deen and dunya actually go hand in hand as well. So to do that today, we're very lucky once again that we've actually been joined by our superstar scholar, ladies and gentlemen. He actually happens to be Mr. Imran Sandhu. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And you look wonderful today.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you. And you can say Tabarakallah.
Tabarakallah, sir. MashaAllah, Jazakallah, Subhanallah, Jazakallah khair. And there's one more point which I'll come back to, but ladies and gentlemen, first things first, obviously, we're only left with a couple of rosas as well. A lot of people are going to the markets. Please make sure that, you know, you stand up in Takrate and ask for whatever you want, because Allah will be on the first sky as well and will be like, hey, you know what, ask for whatever you want to ask. So please make sure that you ask whatever you need. Other than that, we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by somebody, ladies and gentlemen, who happens to be Mr. Hafiz Saad Imran Sahab. Hello, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hafiz bhai, kya sunayenge aaj?
जी मैं कलाम करम आज बाला इबाम आ गया है
बिस्मिल्लाह जी
करम आज बाला बाम आ गया है करम आज बालाए बाम गया है जुबां पे मुहम्मद का नाम गया है जुबां पे मुहम्मद का नाम गया है करम आज बालाए करम आज बालाए बाम गया है करम आज बालाए बाम गया है जुबां पे मुहम्मद का नाम गया है जुबां पे मुहम्मद का मज़ा जब है सरकार महशर में कह दे मज़ा जब है सरकार महशर में कह दे वो देखो हमारा हमारा गुलाम आ गया है करम आज बालाए और मुझे मिल गई है दो आलम की शाही मेरा उनके मंगतों में नाम आ गया है मेरा उनके मंगतों में नाम आ गया है करम आज बालाए और मेरे पास कुछ भी न था रोज़े महशर मेरे पास कुछ भी न था रोज़े महशर नबी का वसीला ही काम आ गया है नबी का वसीला ही काम आ गया है करम आज
Subhanallah, Hafiz Saad. Thank you very much for giving us the perfect start to the day as well. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming back to Mr. Imran Salusa, first things first, I asked him a question and he didn't answer it while we were actually just about to get started with the show. And I certainly didn't know whether it was for a medical reason or whether it was for a fashion reason as well. Do you want me to ask you that question or we can do it afterwards?
We can do it after that.
Okay, we can do it afterwards. We're going to respect my guests, and I think respect, ladies and gentlemen, is very important. Once you give respect, only then you can expect that respect back as well. So very quickly, I think, do you allow me?
Yeah,
Because just yesterday we were actually talking about Ijma and Qiyas, and we were talking about Ulumul Fiqh as well, and then, you know, the branches of knowledge. So first things first, sir, I think it is very important to kind of talk about how do you think that we kind of blend in contemporary knowledge and the knowledge of the religion to the best of our use, which will help us escape from hellfire in the first place. And Allah will be razi with us as well.
نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Hazrat Ali said, I have a quotation from Hazrat Ali radiyallahu ta'ala an. He says, Al-ilmu muhyul nafs wa munirul aqal wa mumitul jahal. That ilm is actually gives light, life to your thought.
Okay.
And light to your to your thinking process.
All right.
And it is death for jahalat,
Right.
Ilm? Yeah, obviously.
right? So knowledge, the main difference between an animal and a human being is the extent of knowledge. I would not say that they don't have knowledge, they also have the knowledge, but you can very well see, because there's a clear distinction that human beings have an attribute to attain far more knowledge than the animals, and they can be creative with the knowledge. So now there are two kinds of basic knowledges. One is that that is revealed from Allah, from the Creator, and the other knowledge is what you acquire by the way of observation,
Right.
experimentation,
Right.
and experience.
Right.
So these are two basic kinds of knowledge. And what is the difference between the two? One that is revealed from the Almighty is free of error,
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
and one which is acquired, it is incomplete and is in process of completion. That is complete knowledge, and this knowledge is in process of completion, irtiqa,
All right.
evolution.
At this point of time, sir, I think it is very relevant to kind of ask you, because you just mentioned that humans tend to be creative with the knowledge they attain in this world. And while you have said that that the knowledge which came from Allah Almighty, or from the life of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is complete knowledge, don't you think that the error kind of starts to begin when we tend to be more creative with the knowledge which has to do quite a lot with religion, which is already complete, and we are certainly not supposed to be creative? Or do you think that we are supposed to be creative with that too as well?
So, the reason I just started with these two basic branches of knowledge is because to err is human,
Yeah.
and to correct the error is also human.
True.
So, it's our fitra or it's our tabiya to make errors. That is why there is a need of a set of knowledge that is free of error as well.
All right.
So, we can correlate what we are thinking from that knowledge.
Okay.
Okay, so that we can test our knowledge according to that knowledge that is free of error. Now, a human being, if we ponder into its creation, a human being is comprised of a body, a bodily existence, and then an intellectual existence, and then the most powerful existence is the spiritual existence.
True.
This, if I give you an example, and then I will correlate the existence of human being to the existence of the Almighty. They exist in different time zones. So, in this time zone, we need to learn how to connect ourselves through the knowledge, through whatever see in this universe, with the metaphysical world, and through that metaphysical world, how we connect to the creator of this physical world and the metaphysical world, and to Almighty.
Yeah.
When I talk about metaphysical world, I talk about philosophy, and philosophy is related to your thinking process. Similarly, if I feel my bodily existence is going to acquire knowledge from 5 senses. My metaphysical side will acquire knowledge from thinking process, thinking and observation. And my spiritual side is going to acquire knowledge from ilham, ilham or what your heart, the direction of your heart.
The unitary experience, basically.
Yeah. So, your physical side is the most weakest side, and you can very easily obtain knowledge by your 5 senses. I can tell you the color of this
You always
environment.
miss out on the 6th one, right?
Yeah. No, it's not the 6th one that I have missed out on. You didn't ponder into what I said. Your
Oh,
heart.
that's wonderful.
Your heart.
So is it the 6th one?
Yeah, that sense, that the capability of thinking through your heart is the 6th sense.
Okay.
It's very abstract, but it's most powerful.
And it is there.
And it is there, and it is necessary. The reason it is powerful is because with that side of human creation, you find God.
Right.
You connect to God.
That's true.
Connecting to this environment is very easy. Talking to you guys is
That's
easier.
true.
But talking to your spiritual side is more difficult. Even talking to your intellectual side is difficult. I can just talk to you by giving you a few logics. But when I connect to you, the relationship between two people, the love relationship, is the most strongest relationship. And when this relationship breaks between two people, that is where you are stressed out the most.
True.
Similarly, when you are going to lose a connection with the creator, that is going to bring it lots of success, stress. And that is why Allah says that ala bi dhikrillahi tatma'innul qulub. in God's remembrance is makes your heart stronger and stronger, and there's a tranquility when you become stronger. So, coming back to the branches of knowledge, so Quran and Sunnah is wahi, and it is free of error.
That's true.
The tafsir of Quran and the tashrih of hadith, or I say the commentary of Quran that we do and commentary of hadith that we do is basically philosophical knowledge. We can do error in the understanding of Quran and hadith. There could be two reasons of error. One, that we don't like we are misinterpreting it because of lack of knowledge, or the environment does not have that kind of knowledge available that we can interpret it correctly. For example, then we have to have iman on that knowledge. Alif Lam Mim Dhalikal Kitabu La Raiba Fihi Hudal Lil Muttaqin. It's an ilm of La Raib, undoubtedly right, correct.
Right.
So, whenever we read wahi, we have to read it with the logic of iman. Iman is the logic over here, that whether we understand it or we don't understand it, we have faith that this is the set of knowledge that is going to guide us correctly.
So we cannot refer to it as philosophy, rather, right?
It is not philosophy.
Yeah.
Remember this, like whenever we talk about philosophy, philosophers will always start their sentence from I think.
Yeah.
I may be wrong, but I think.
Are you saying this to Hajra?
No, because of the nature of the knowledge, because you can think right and you can think wrong. So, now coming back to the knowledge, so there are two. If we graduated from if we divide the branches of knowledge from the point of view of acquiring knowledge, one is revealed knowledge and the other is acquired knowledge. Now, there is another way we can set up the branches is ulum sharia and ulum ghayru sharia.
Right.
The knowledge of Sharia and the knowledge other than Sharia. In order to understand the knowledge of Sharia, you need to connect to the contemporary observational knowledge as well. Otherwise, you will never ever be able to understand the knowledge of Sharia. What is the knowledge of Sharia?
Exactly. And in addition to that, when we talk about particularly the knowledge of Sharia, do you think that it's evolving as well as we are evolving as humans? The way we live, the way we eat, the way we wake up, the medicine, different technologies are evolving as well. So because when we are to observe the other than Sharia's knowledge, I think they go hand in hand in making sure that that whatever solutions we're looking for comes under Sharia as well. Then.
Yeah. So, a good question.
Thank you for pondering.
Look, ultimately Sharia connects to your heart, the knowledge of Sharia. Then it, from your heart, it comes to your to your intellect, your brain, and your brain actually controls your body. So, anything that is relating to your bodily existence is known as tib or medicine.
Right.
Right. Your body connects to the physical environment, and that is called physics.
Right.
Now, your mind connects to the observation, the reasoning, and that is called philosophy. Now, in order to interpret the revealed knowledge, that is Quran and that is Hadith, you need to understand the physical side of your body, the intellectual side of your your knowledge as well. So, what you need to do is in order to practice induction and deduction from Quran and the Sunnah, you need to understand logic. You need to practice logic. You need to practice even engineering, you need to practice even physics. So, you know, unless or until, for example, you have to make a good mosque. Now you need to understand engineering.
Yeah.
Now mosque is a place where you go and
Pray.
So there's a connection between what has been revealed and what do you do and how you do it. So contemporary knowledge, unless or until you are going to know the contemporary knowledge of the time, you will not be able to practice your religion properly as well.
Exactly.
Right.
And thank you very much for saying that, because, you know, making it a little more simpler, obviously, you know, we would need engineers to kind of share with us, you know, how much steel or probably iron or whatever contents are required. And then obviously we would need the religious knowledge as well in making sure whether the masjid is actually pointing towards, or the direction is towards the Holy Kaaba as well. So I think that's the kind of mix you're talking about, and they go hand in hand, ladies and gentlemen. So please make sure that you make no mistakes. So very quickly, sir, do you have any last words for today? Because we have to wrap up this segment as well.
Yeah. So
The utility of both the knowledges.
So our elders, our akabir, and have always connected the contemporary knowledge. They have used this contemporary knowledge to practice their physical and intellectual side, and this makes them in a better position to understand the wahi.
And have that connection as well. That sixth sense we were talking about. You know, I pondered about it. Thank you very much, Sadhu Sahab, for being with us. Thank you very much, Hafiz Adem Nansab, for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation. And for everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, you know, it is for you to, in the first place, think about your own betterment. And if you are to think about your betterment, obviously you really need to, if you follow religion, because we go out in 46 different countries as well. But we as Muslims, you know, we certainly do not get that confidence. And that's something which I wanted to talk about tomorrow probably, that, you know, half of the time you're doing good, you're making sure that you're going to pray on time, you're going to give your sadaqah and zakat, and you will do whatever Allah or Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has told us to do. But then all of a sudden, because humans do make errors, you know, just like Mr. Imran Sadhu Sahab said as well, all of a sudden we lose that confidence, you know. So we're getting closer to Allah Almighty, you know, that connection starts to build up, we commit a mistake, and we start from ground zero. So, and when I'm talking about myself particularly, when I lose that confidence, I just feel horrible. I'm like, okay, you know, I've invested so much energy, time, and made sure that that connection is going to be there. So how do we kind of reflect upon this, whether to lose confidence or whether to be like, okay, I'm not going to do it again. Tawba Allah mein, please maaf kare. And then what if it happens again as well? That's something which we'll definitely talk about tomorrow. But since we were talking about knowledge and acquired knowledge as well, ladies and gentlemen, we really need to focus on our education system in making sure whether all of these values are embedded and instilled in the future generations of the country and of the entire Muslim Ummah as well. With that, we're heading out towards a short break. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Ramzan, Pakistan.
Ramzan, Pakistan. Ramzan, Pakistan.
Third 10 days of Ramadan are days to seek emancipation from hellfire.
ए लोगों जो ईमान लाए हो, इताअत करो अल्लाह की और इताअत करो रसूल की और उन लोगों की जो तुम में से साहिब अम्र हों.
Third 10 days of Ramadan are days to seek emancipation from hellfire.
O Allah, save me from the hell's fire.
काम होगा.
Sayings of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He who does not respect elders, does not have mercy on children, does not commend what is good, and does not forbid what is evil, is not one of us.
Ramzan Pakistan, Ramzan Pakistan.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Thank you very much for staying tuned to BT World. You're definitely watching Ramzan Pakistan alongside Ms. Hajar Sati, and I happen to be Shahzad Hassan Khan. Earlier, ladies and gentlemen, we were talking about a perfect mix and blend of the contemporary and the religious knowledge for your betterment, for a better life over here and the life hereafter as well. But now, we certainly want to talk about students, well, in fact, not even students, youngsters, kids who are out of school. You know, the figure stands at 22.8 million, and it is increasing by 800,000 every single year. But before we do that, and before we get into the facts and details and how we can make it better, ladies and gentlemen, there are a lot of people who are doing a lot of wonderful stuff, and it really needs to be appreciated. And it's because of the fact that, you know, PTV World actually signed an agreement, a memorandum of understanding in between PTV World and the Ibex Films as well, where Wajahat Malik and an adventurer himself actually went on to an Indus River rafting expedition. He started all the way from the north and will be landing into the Arabian Sea as well very soon. Where is he as of now is something we wanted to see and share with the rest of the world. Please go and take a look.
We're in the middle of Chashma and Deer Khan. The landscape is vast, the river has widened, but it has also become shallow in certain parts. So every now and then we run aground on sandbars. Like right now, we have to push the boat from the shallows towards the deep channels. And it's hot, the sun is right above our heads. So what we do is most of the time we put on some music and try to cheer up. Like right now, Rahman is putting on his deck and then he dances and we all join in. Music. Music. Good.
All right, Bujal, we certainly want to wish you best of luck for all the remaining days for your Indus River rafting expedition. And ladies and gentlemen, it's not just an adventure traveler going out in places and making sure that you get to see what he's doing. You know, there's a reason and there's a purpose behind it, and that is that United Nations have actually made sure that we recognize all of these, for example, when we talk about Indus River, and they recognize them as a species, as just like the rights we have as human beings. So what Wajahat Malik is trying to do is that he's trying to first of all record the condition Indus River is in the first place before something actually happens, or God forbid if there's any more damage, so that we can actually preserve it the way it is. And that's how it needs to be shared with the rest of the world as well. And now coming back to our topic, because for all of that, a lot of education is important, a lot of knowledge is important, but there's a rising problem over here in Pakistan where there are 22.8 million children out of schools. Not just that, the figure is staggeringly increasing in numbers, with 800,000 children adding on to that figure as well. So to discuss that, ladies and gentlemen, we're very lucky that we've actually been joined with somebody who happens to be an expert on educational challenges as well. Ladies and gentlemen, she happens to be Miss Noshin Paracha. Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam, how are you?
I'm good, alhamdulillah.
So thank you very much for joining us. It's wonderful to have you over here on our Ramzan Pakistan transmission, and I think this is the perfect month to kind of talk about how Pakistan, being a very philanthropic nation, in fact in the index ranks at #1, but still we do have 22.8 million children out of schools. Why can't we curb this menace? Why do you think we are unable to curb this menace? How do you think that we can have a resolve?
And what are the consequences of not addressing this issue?
Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Pleasure to be here. I would like to address this issue. First of all, I'll just analyze the data. That is 22.8 million kids are out of school, and now adding every year there's 800,000 kids, and now we have to look at this matter at the micro level and the macro level as well, both ways. But the thing is that here is a part of everyone, like the parents are playing the role in it, our decision makers are playing the basic role in it, and of course the school owners are also playing the role in it. So what I believe, it will, if we will not work on it, our economy will be affected in future. Because if our youth is not being educated, we will not be able to we will not face globally. We won't be able to, like, if our children or our youth is uneducated or not aware of technology, as most of the children, they do not, even parents, they don't know the technology.
Thank you very much for raising this point, because what I would certainly want to ask over here is that with technology, I think when you have access to technology, you can learn better rather than learning about it.
Exactly.
So I believe it's difficult for Pakistan to kind of make sure that in every rural and I mean obviously urban areas is different, but in rural areas the access to technology is quite difficult. The people from the lower income segment, it's so hard for them to get their bread on the table 3 times a day. How do you think that they can actually be on this industrial revolution as well with us?
And did the COVID change the scenario? Because we saw that a lot of a penetration of the technology into the education, especially when the schools were closed.
Exactly. What I believe, I strongly believe on it, that if being an educationist, I feel like we should come out of the traditional learning and traditional schooling. We should come out of it, and first of all, the very important thing, that is accelerated syllabus, which we are introducing, and we are going through that accelerated syllabus should be blended with the technology from the early years.
Have you given a good look at the single national curriculum which has been introduced by the previous government?
Yeah, I have. I've just been
I think it talks quite a lot about technology. It talks
quite
a lot about how people need to coexist, and I believe that it was a wonderful initiative as well.
Yeah, it was great initiative. And secondly, we should start the technology from the beginning, like from the primary level, then go gradually. The very important thing is to educate the parent as well, because awareness programs are very important for the parents, because they don't know what we faced the challenges in the COVID at that time, that parents were unaware of online learning. They were just saying they are not learning, the kids are not learning properly, or this and that, but the point was that if the parents are not aware of it, they cannot teach their children if we go to the online learning. Secondly, there are the 2 things in the technology. One are the tools which we are being used, and then we are introducing the technology. Like another thing is the courses which we are introducing to the children with the tools that they are doing it, like the graphic designing, like coding, robotics, STEM education. So these all are
it's wonderful that we're talking about the languages which the children really need to learn to make sure that they can contribute to the information technology. But hey, we do know that that the most lucrative industry as of now is the information technology industry as well, and a lot of people are working in it already. But let's start from the grassroots level, because when we talk about 22.8 million children out of schools, they certainly do not know anything about graphics as of now. So how do you think that we kind of work on them inclusively or exclusively as well, where they have that standard adaptation of whatever they will be learning for in the near future. Because I mean, I've been studying Sally with red apples and whatnot, and I think it was just for me to kind of have good reading probably, or probably learning habit as well, or comprehension, and these were the exercises we went through. And I've seen that a lot of tools are not being introduced within the schools because even the schools could not afford that level of technology. So how are we even preparing, and what solutions or recommendations would you have for the government of Pakistan to introduce so that we are actually on that wavelength where we kind of catched up with the technology or the technological interventions?
First of all, which I think that is the decision maker should do spending of the budget. That is 4% of our GDP, but we are spending only 2.5%.
That's debatable. You know, the figures come out differently every year.
Okay, and I think this is very important point. Secondly, they should support the parents financially to educate their children.
Do you think supporting parents can help in, not in sending their kids to the school? Because I remember that I was talking to an educationist, and she said she was working on the education in the rural areas, and she said that I incentivize that, I'm going to give 2,000 rupees to every children who's going to come to school. So what happened was that parents used to get the 2,000 and still they would not send their kids. And then she said that I made it compulsory to have a 90% attendance, and then you're gonna get the 2,000.
Exactly, because there is a there are multiple problems of the parents from the slum areas and underprivileged areas. So I think so. There we should start working on it with the in local area, in their local community. We should start with the one-room school, and where we can introduce the technology and everything. So I think so they can send their children.
And I have a very different opinion over here, and it's not necessary that everybody agrees to it, because rather than incentivizing, I think what is more important is that we spend the same amount of money on making sure that we educate those parents how important education is for their children.
The awareness and education of the parents, it is very important. The second thing is, if we are running the ads, we can drive the campaign to aware the parents as well, because everyone is watching TV. They are everyone are on the media, social media, so they know that awareness program is very important too for the.
That's what I don't get, because when we say that everybody is on social media, then why is it difficult for them to learn? Knowledge is not, or education is not that you will actually have to end up in a school, take a standard classroom from 8 to 12, take courses and then learn. Everybody now these days, if somebody is going to come up to me and be like, sir, hum to school hi nahi jate hain yaar, I think it's their mistake that they are not aware that they can pretty much learn each and everything. See, we do not want a certificate from a school telling us that we are educated or we are knowledgeable as of now. I think trends are changing. The top 500 Fortune companies do not require or ask you for a degree. They would certainly want a skill set. And there were times when people, for jack of all trades, for example, would always work and be successful. But the times ahead, I think everybody needs to specialize in a particular field so that they can be the master of that one skill, and that will earn them some good bread.
So this is the point, that we are coming out from the conventional educational system to the technology, blending of technology in both of it. Secondly, the accelerated syllabus, I have talked about it. This is very important, that most of the children, they are coming in the age of 14 or 12. So we are covering that syllabus by the accelerated. For this reason, I am just introducing my another organization, that is Myanmar Educational Foundation, which I will launch in July 2022.
And what do you aim to do with that?
I just want to introduce the blending of technology with accelerated syllabus to the underprivileged areas.
And how are you going to do that?
I have a proper plan for that, and I have just I'll start pilot project from the Bharaku area, and then gradually I'll move.
Can you please share a few characteristics of that pilot program, that this is something which you've designed for the children and that's how they will learn?
And also, I think that there is Istambul, there are 2-3 schools, which has this government schools, which has this component of technology blend education. So do you feel that you can have some help from those schools also?
No, it's I run my own school in Bharaku. That is my my own school. So I have just started the coding classes from there, and now my children are able to make games.
Wonderful.
And the age is around 8 to 12, between the age 8 to 12, and they are able to making games. So now I decided that I'm capable enough to work with my children in my school, so why not I should go for the underprivileged area and work with those kids, though really they need to get some skills and they should earn money in the
and
future.
it's wonderful, and I would certainly want to appreciate over here that you're not focusing on, okay, the total population of Pakistan, the total area of Pakistan, and you know, even though that it's important as well for your general knowledge, but rather I think that imparting them with knowledge which is going to give them a skill set is something which is very important. But as a school or as a principal or as the owner of that school as well, don't you think that it is important for you that for whatever they're creating, you make them reach to the international sphere so that...
Of course, I am doing it.
Wonderful.
Absolutely.
And how do you do that?
Actually, whatever this, the era is of social media, and whatever they are doing, definitely we are making videos and we are putting on the social media and recognizing, it's being recognized by different organizations. They have just approached us, and I'm also working with the global ambassador who is working on the water saving, and I'm working with her as well. And beside that, I prefer, it's not only for those children, those who are in my school. If somebody, or if some children, they are underprivileged or out of school and they have the capability to learn something, I just recognize it and I just work on him or her and to make them capable enough.
That's wonderful, and we would want to wish you best of luck as well. And next time we would actually want to have the children of your school over here alongside you as well, so that we can even ask them a couple of questions, and whatever they have built so far, whatever softwares they have designed or whatever games they have designed, we would want to share that with our audiences as well. Thank you very much. Keep up the good work. Best of luck for Myanmar as well. And for everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, this is how you actually create difference, bring about that positive change which we were talking about. It is always, it truly depends on the intent. She had the intent, she made her own school, and she's keeping up with that as well, and that's what we want. So ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that you tune in tomorrow as well to get the best of what me and Haja can bring to you, or Mr. Imran Sandhu Saab as well. Tomorrow, what are we talking about? So tomorrow we are actually talking about how we lose our confidence when we make a mistake.
Okay, and we can also talk about, the role of ulama and what composes the body of ulama and what is their role.
Imran Sandhu Saab is going to be very happy with this topic as well. So ladies and gentlemen, please look after yourselves. Remember us all in your prayers. Allah Hafiz, look after. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Ramzan, Pakistan, Ramzan.